Hello, hello, welcome. Hello, everybody, for just a moment before we get started. So excited to be with you guys in Embodied Empress Collective. I've been a busy bee online today. I feel like I've been doing all sorts of things to make sure that I got to tune in with you and share the March Soulcast and see what the energy is going to be, because I have a feeling it already feels good. I don't know if you guys are sensing that, but I am feeling more elevated this month than I have in a long time. So that really excites me. Um, and we have 5 weeks this month, so we're going to jump in here pretty soon. Beautiful necklace that I'm wearing. So this is an energy resonance necklace that protects my energy field. I got this as a gift from a podcast. I host a podcast called Soften Podcast, and Linda Cormier is my guest that I just had on Soften Podcast, and she is the CEO of Gia Wellness. And this beautiful, you can't really see, but there's the energy resonance technology on the back of this. So I've been wearing this because, I want to keep my energy nice and clean and healthy for all the work that I'm always doing. So if you see me wearing this, you guys can tell I'm a little obsessed with hearts. I have a diamond heart. Got a few different hearts going on here today. I just love them. So if you're coming on, say hi. I'd love to know who's with me. I'm going to start by for March and see what's in store for us energetically. We are in an 8-month. When 8 is all about, abundance, power. It just feels like a really, I don't know, like expansive energy to be flowing in. And so I'm excited. How are you guys feeling about March? If you're joining me live, or if you're catching the replay, how does March feel for you so far on the second day? Are you feeling coming out of that full moon on the 27th? I don't know. All weekend long, I felt like it was a very healing weekend. I felt like massive, massive shifts of energy weekend. And it was really cool. Oh my gosh. I feel like we got this one other time. I can't remember if it was last month. But I'm going to write this down. We got the partnerships and alliances card for March. And it's so funny how sometimes there might be repeat themes, but it's always going to be different, right? For this energy for March, it just feels like your networks are expanding. It feels like the work that you've been putting in for maybe the last, 3 to 6 months it's going to start to show. Like things are going to start to come together. You're going to feel like opportunities are coming out of nowhere, but actually it's a long time ago. It's something that you've been working on. It's something that you've been cultivating energetically and bringing about. And so March feels like there's some clandestine, that's the word that came through for me, clandestine relationships to be happening. So for some of you, it might mean like some new friendships, some new romantic partnerships maybe coming online. It feels really like in my body, it feels very light, and it feels really kind of fun, and it feels like these doors that are for these friendships and for these new partnerships and alliances, it feels very much like they're like your soul besties, they're like allies, they're your tribe, they're your people, like there's been such a it's so interesting. They just showed me collectively there's been a big drop. And what they're saying to me is there's been like a huge fallout in density. So there's been a nice big clearing that's happening right now on the planet. And it feels like, that drop in heaviness, like the people that have been, staying attuned to what they're working on and what they want to be doing. It feels like the trajectory is rising, and it feels like it's going to be easier to maintain a higher frequency, to live in that frequency, because our light bodies have been, like, for the last couple months, have really, I'd actually say since December, have been really shifting to be able to manage these higher frequencies, right? And what I'm feeling is like collectively, we dropped out a big thing of, like a big piece of density. The grids on the planet and the energy portals are feeling like there's been some real deep energetic architectural shifts and changes happening. There feels like there's a little bit of lightning on the planet, although there feels like there's still some like stuff that's being squeezed out energetically, like some of the darkness and some of the shadows. It's not to say they're gone on the planet, of course, but it feels like they're coming more to the light so they can be transmuted, which means we may be feeling a little bit lighter, even if things are transpiring in our lives. It's like there's a sense of like, okay, it's a little bit easier for me to go through this because I have my soul besties, I have my tribe, I have people that I connect with. I'm vibing at a certain frequency, which is calling in. So say yes this month to the opportunities that come your way. Say yes to investing in yourself. Say yes to the new friendships or the new partnerships, romantic, that might come in and just delight you. That's the word that I feel, is like there's a little bit of this delight energy, and I love that. Delight to me is very much connected to our inner child. Like our inner child wants to play and have fun and all that kind of stuff, and that's what it feels like for the energy of March. Okay, that's going to be the overall theme. So for this first week that we're already vibing in, right? We're in it. Let me tell you what I'm getting for the first week. Ooh, we got the awareness card. So this is the Magician card in the traditional tarot. So let me just write this down. So it's a 1 card. So we're stepping into new beginnings. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely feeling this. Like I have been conjuring up my future self and who I'm becoming. And this was the week that, like, I said yes to her. I was like, okay, I'm going to try some new things. I'm doing some different things in my business. I've been showing up online, the last couple of days in this limitless life activation that I'm doing. And things have been feeling very magical. And so this is the energy that basically is saying to you, what is it that you're creating? What is it that you're working on? You have the abilities. You have everything you need in your toolbox to make this happen. Oftentimes we look outside of ourselves for what we, think are the answers. We have to get something first, a certification, or I need to learn this thing before I can fully show up and be my most magical version of myself. And it's kind of funny because I've been talking, this week is all about, speaking about limitlessness. And this card feels very much of that energy of like, wait, if I just tap into my rich soul, like I am magical. I have everything I need, like right at my fingertips. Like, why am I thinking that I need to go out and find all these things? So this is very much, okay, if I go within and feel into the, like it almost feels like there's a texture to this energy. It's really interesting to me, but it's like, it feels almost like a velvety texture. And it just feels like, almost like if you were to touch the most soft velvet, like the plushness, the richness of that, right? And remembering that exists within us. Like we can have it all, and moving past the limitations of the mind, accessing the portal of the heart, opening up to new beginnings, and being a risk. That is what this card is about this week. Like, don't stay, like if you've been saying to yourself, like, I want to shift into something else, I want to feel a little bit different in my life, well, then you can't stay the same. You can't keep doing the same things expecting different results. The Magician is saying to you, are you ready to start on the journey? Are you ready to believe in yourself? Are you confident that you have everything that you need to do it? Yes, I do. It's like you saying to the universe, yeah, well, yes. And then, activating that. So what I want for this week is for you to get very clear on who your future self is. And what is it? Like instead of going out 3 years from now, why don't you just focus on something pretty simple, like your 6-month version, and tuning into her. What is she doing? What has she accomplished? Or what is she, who does she get to be? Because it's not so much about the accomplishment, but maybe she's doing something. Maybe she stepped into the thing that you're like, yeah, I'm going to be doing that soon. Like, that's what I really want. I can see myself doing that. So I want you to imagine that you're really connecting into who you have to be in order to put that frequency wave out to the future and let the future come meet you. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else. This very much feels heart activated. I feel like there's been a little bit of psychic surgery of release. Like I do definitely feel like those of you in this portal, like of the embodied empress, it's like this feeling of like, okay, we've been like working on our hearts to forgive, to let go of something so we can step into having more space within. Okay, so there's like that psychic part to it that feels very much like the heart choosing differently, choosing to reframe, not getting stuck in the old stories. Okay, so that's the card for this week. And then we have next week, which is and that week specifically, on the 13th, we have the new moon in Pisces. So if you know anything about Pisces, you know, we're very much into this like feeling energy, emotions. It's the end of the archetypal astrology wheel. So it's like, you know, like, it's that collective awareness and consciousness. It's that psychic ability. So it's a really fun energy that we're going to have. But let me see. We also, I forgot to mention, tomorrow is the 3/3. It's a power day. So tomorrow's a day to like really be responsible for how you're showing up energetically. Big business. You may feel a call to be of service, okay? And you may notice some of your resistance coming up, because anytime we're switching gears and we're stepping into like who we're becoming, sorry, there's a gnat. I need to get rid of that because it's going to drive me nuts. Then there might be some time, might be this feeling of like, oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to step more into service? So that's tomorrow, FYI. Okay, so the 8th, going back to the 8th, and I said the 13th for the new moon. There is on March 9th till the 11th, the Aquarium stellium returns. The moon, Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn are all going to be in a stellium. So there's going to be intensified energy upgrades. Really face your challenges during this time frame. Soul is going to be, let your soul lead. Okay. Oh my God. How does that happen? It always trips me out. When this happens to me a lot, where I'll get this, shuffle the deck all over again and get the same damn card. But it's because we're in this energy of new beginnings. And so instead of repeating what I just said, I'm going to just tag onto it and see if there's a different energy for what they're telling me. Whoa, sorry. What they're telling me about this next week is, I was telling you kind of like the first week is very internal, like you have everything in you to magnetize, to make things happen. Feels like the second week is more about the external reality. Like you're going to go make things happen. You're going to start new things. You're going to be the magician in your external reality. You're going to start to see the effects of what you're doing. You're going to start to really feel that you can manifest so much change within your reality. It's really exciting. So they'll be very, like, they're showing me the word tangible. There'll be examples of how things have shifted and changed. So it's like you step into this portal, the second week you're still in the portal, and it's like the first week is like you're doing the frequency work and doing the internal stuff. The second week, and it's like, remember I told you the architecture of the heart is shifting, which is opening up so you can receive more. Then the second week is more like, oh my gosh, wow, look at what I created. Look at what happened. I can tangibly see something shifted in my reality. Something in the quantum field that seemed, you know, it's like you magnetize something from the quantum field very rapidly into your world, and it's kind of, did that happen? But it's like, it goes back to what I was saying before. You've been doing the work for a while. Like that, remember I said for March, like you've been planting the seeds for these things, and so everything starts to come to fruition, and you're kind of like, I see you kind of like going, whoa, like almost like, I can't believe this. This is so exciting. So continue to stay open, continue to embrace. I see a little bit of a roller coaster, and the message behind the roller coaster is like, you're safe in a roller coaster, right? You know, like there's going to be twists and turns, and the thing that they're really focusing on for me, this collective that I'm channeling right now, is that at the top of the roller coaster, right, is, you have the dip, the Big Dipper, I think it's called in Santa Cruz. I don't know if you guys have ever been on that roller coaster, but it used to scare me when I was younger. And I just remember it was like in your head for a second at the highest height before you go whoo, and then it's like that free fall feeling. And I get that sense that like you've been building up to something, and all of a sudden it's like it's happening, and you're like, oh my god, it's like happening, but it's kind of scary. Like I'm free falling. I don't know what to expect. Like this is all new. Like, so there's something very magical about this week where it's very like new energy that you might feel a little bit in your body, like that you maybe want to not disassociate, but it's a little bit of that energy of like, oh my gosh, like can I hold all this? Like can I feel safe in all these exciting new beginnings? And it feels like things are busier. I don't know why they just showed me a zebra. I mean, what the hell? I don't even have my animal cards next to me, but I'm getting a zebra medicine, so that'll be interesting. I'll have to like see why. I'm the first takeaway I get from seeing a zebra is the black and white, the polarities of like it's either this or that. Like how oftentimes we'll say it's either black or white. And they're saying, remember this week that it's not black or white. There's lots of gray. So just like as soon as you come to a conclusion and you're like, oh, it's going to be like this and everything's happening in this way, stay neutral. Stay the observer. Like don't make any assumptions. Like if it's all of a sudden like you get all these things happening that you're really excited for, but then you're like, oh, but now I have to work harder, or now I have to do something more than I did before. Whatever it is that you've materialized, don't go into some story of like it's this way or that way, and don't base it on how you used to do things. Base it on who you are today, and that same version that you used to manifest this thing, like stay in that energy. It feels like there's a little bit of polarization, so stay out of the polarization. Like have fun, like really be excited at like, oh my gosh, all these things are coming together. Let that new moon also be a time where you're letting yourself feel. Pisces is all about the feeling, the psychic sense. And so like using your psychic senses to help elevate and activate the next level of your ability to receive. Okay. Because, new moons are like planting seeds, right? We're always planting the seeds of what we want to bring in. I always do a new moon webinar. So if you're new to me and you want to join, I'll always post about that. I do it in my soul lab, but the new moons are such powerful and potent times to plant those seeds. Okay, so that's for the 8th. Okay, so now we go to the 15th. I'm going to really shuffle these cards. I'm so curious about that zebra that just was like hanging out. It was like all of a sudden there's a safari jungle in my head, and I love when animal medicine pops up. I'm going to have to like look at the totem for what that zebra means. I have this really cool deck of cards that I'm sure you guys might have them too, but it's the animal. I don't even know what the deck is called right now. Can you tell I'm like all over the place. Okay, so the 15th. Let's tune into the energy of the 15th. What do we have? Wants to come through. Okay, so we got Memories of Love card. Let me just write this down. It's a 6 card. For some reason, the first thing I'm feeling is catching your breath that week. Like there might be a little bit of like, okay, I got to catch my breath. Like there's been some, a lot of changes happening already for the beginning of March. Let me catch my breath. And there is this energy of like, simplify. You don't do everything and go a million miles an hour. There's very much this energy of like, be the embodiment of what you want to, be for longevity's sake. It's this energy, because what I'm feeling is like, okay, things kind of rushed, things kind of got like busy, And now this is the week, okay, it's like I gotta like come back to like what makes me happy, what brings me into harmony. So there feels like there's definitely a need to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Big heart expanding week. The image they just gave me was so interesting. It was almost like as if like energetically you have these like calipers. I think that's what they're called, or not calipers. I think those are the things that measure your body fat. Calipers? I don't know. Anyways, but it was like this device, I should say, since I don't know the proper terminology, that would like energetically open your heart, okay, as an expander. And it's saying it's like the device is going, oh, but can we just open it a little bit more? Like, can we just have a little bit more room and expansion to really step into what you love, into what's most important and what brings you harmony. This week feels a little bit like you come back to family, or you come back to like I feel like you've been out a little bit in the world, and I know like with COVID stuff, you know, it might not be like our typical being out, but it feels like there's more like activity. And then this energy feels like, okay, now I kind of like got to ground everything in. I got to ground in all these new beginnings in my heart. I got to like come back to like what makes me happy, what makes me harmonious. There's also this feeling of personal, like they're using the word personal integrity. Knowing that you might need to let something go this week in order to open your heart more. Knowing that maybe some, like, remember I was talking about the collective had some density drop out. This is more like a personal feeling, where as an individual, to hold the frequency of the new stuff that you just brought in for the first couple weeks of the month, you may need to, like, you may recognize it may, and I'm hearing that the new moon kind of like brings it in a little bit. There may be this piece where you're seeing a looping pattern and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to let go of that, because that is going to prohibit me from really having and being in the energy of what I've just created. And it's this feeling of like a gentle awareness that brings you back to loving yourself. It feels very much like a compassionate energy, gentle boundaries over your time, coming back into prioritizing what's important. Because this is all like, this week it feels like you're studying everything out. You know, it's always like kind of a story they're telling me, but this is like, okay, everything out. We got to like get back to some level of harmony within and without. Okay, so it's within yourself with the outside world. That's what it feels like. You're kind of pendulating back and forth, and you're excited and you're happy, but you have to like remind yourself, like, okay, like what's the most important things that I need to focus on, so I can come back to love, so I can continue to receive, so I can continue to balance all these new energies and things that I've shifted and created. Okay, have fun. And then we move to the week of the 26th. Okay, let's see what's going on for the 26th. Wait, did I say 26th? I meant to say 22nd, sorry. The 22nd, we have a full moon on the 28th. I believe, what is that full moon in? I'm not sure what that full moon is going to be in just yet. I know we're moving into Aries season though. Aries is my rising, and I always get like a jolt of energy with Aries. I'm like, oh my God, I have a lot of Aries in my chart. Okay, for the 22nd, we got the throat chakra, and then we're moving into a 5 for this energy. Let me really feel into this one, because this one is not so much like it's more of a feeling that's coming through my body than it is like a specific set of information. And this feels like the integration of really showing up in a new and different way for yourself. I'm feeling that the energy, what you let go of that week of the 15th, on a personal level, created some space, and I feel like you're more embodied and more integrated and willing to express yourself in your truth. I don't know why, but whatever you do in the world, it feels like this is a week of like being more of service, like coming into the realm of the collective and seeing what's happening in the collective and like finding your voice, finding your truth within everything that's been going on. This feels very much like you may just be expressing yourself differently to the people around you. There may be a deeper layer of truth that you're willing to share. It also, part of your story changes. It's so interesting. It's like I'm seeing a powerful healing coming through the planet this week, and it's a flame. And I could say it's a violet flame, but that's not what I was seeing. I was seeing this like red flame of energy, and it feels very much associated with the divine feminine. I feel like Mary Magdalene energy, and it's this flame of truth, and it's this like burning away and removing the places that we still feel victimized. And it's not to say that like we can eradicate and just erase like the past, but it feels like there's this loving divine feminine, and it feels very much associated to the high angelics. And there's this feeling of like the shadow being transmuted. So you may find this week of the 22nd that your personal victim story changes and shifts. Like maybe something that's been holding you hostage with shifts, and you feel more freedom, you feel more liberated, because there's a healing happening in the spiritual realms with the divine feminine, with the angelic realms. Even I see this energy of Mary Magdalene being tied into it, where there's just this like sense or feeling of like, yeah, just feeling like there's more light to hold, and that you're able to have more grace, that you're able to step into more possibilities. So I just love this energy. It feels really beautiful. It feels very much like your channel and your throat chakra opens up a lot. And I'm curious to like really tune into the Mary Magdalene energy. And it feels like this sense of empowerment. It feels like in every ounce of your being, if you've been on a spiritual journey, how deeply connected you are to the divine, and how you are always guided and led by that energy. It's really beautiful. And for men, if there's men listening to this, I mean, it's still a healing for the divine feminine in you too. It's not just for women. It's really this sense of like all the shame and heaviness that we carry, being having an ability to like drop some of that victim energy, how we've been victimized, and to create some lightness and a new way for us to show up more empowered and able to speak truth. So let's see how that affects you personally, because that's a really cool energy. And then the last week, the 29th, let's see. We get the Hope card. I love this card because you can see there's like such a there's light. And so that is we've been on a healing journey. We're coming right off the full moon of the 28th. We have this last week of March before we're starting to step in to Aries energy, into new beginnings, right? Aries is the warrior, the start of the new astrological wheel. So I get this sense, this feeling, because I think will have moved into some of the Aries energy probably by the 22nd, 23rd, I'm thinking. And this is a card that's all about the healing journey that we've been on, and how we can restore optimism. Coming off of everything I've been saying, especially with the throat chakra and how you're able to express your truth, you may find this last week that some of those difficult places in your relationships elevate. Because remember how I started this off, this card with, the month with partnerships and alliances, and it feels like, I love this energy because they're showing me that the places that to the past, the relationships that have anchored you into the past, it feels like there's this like really beautiful healing light coming through to help you either release it, to reframe it, or just to simply move forward in a new embodied way within this. And this very much feels like the energy of forgiveness, and it feels like you come to a place of understanding, and it feels like it frees up other things in your life. I'm gonna look out this week for like the relationships that, because it feels like there's all this new energy coming in of like fun stuff, fun fun connections and all this stuff. But I want you to be mindful if you're going into, if you're stepping into, like, I keep getting the Aries energy. If you're stepping into the Aries energy and it's all about self and being willing to be a self-starter and move into new things and be like a light warrior, let's just say, what are those last pieces that are still anchoring you to really being able to, use and actualize that throat healing that we talked about the week before, the throat chakra, and the places that maybe need still a little bit of a tender touch. There feels like a tenderness. Like I feel like your heart may be more tender in a good way, where you're like come down from like, whether it's anger, or you might be able to see something from the past that is still holding you back, and you're finally willing to like release the anchor, to untether, to move past, to let go, because you know that in order for you to be fully embodied this month and all these new beginnings, it's part of the process, and it becomes very evident to you by the full moon of that 28th, going into the 29th. So I have a deep sense that something will probably be, I can't even say it, something will be illuminated so you can understand like what it is that's coming to the surface, like what it is that still needs to be moved out or worked on so you could flow better. And just remember, with this being hope, there's always, when we look at everything and understand that there's always a deeper, there's always, like the word I get is like, there's always a deeper resonance to something. There's always something, there's what's happening with what we can see, but then there's what's happening in the psychic realms. And this week, I feel like you see the psychic realms, like you get a very, clear understanding of your energy and how your energy might be bound still in something. So this is the week of like, set it free, let it go, like move past that so that you can really step into these beautiful and bright, things that you called in, that you manifested the first couple of weeks, and that, you really want to move into and cherish and create as a new foundation, because it feels like what you bring in the first 2 weeks is like a new foundation of like, I almost want to call it like a new normal. So how did I do timing wise? Not too bad, 36 minutes. Okay, so that is our soul cast for March. I'm excited to see. I'm really working on getting these soul casts where my virtual assistant and I have been talking about, like, putting them out every week, every Monday, so you can have the fresh report. So you'll see this video obviously, but you can have the fresh report of like the card and then the energy of what I shared, so that you can stay on track and you can see, and it can help you through your week. I hope that you guys have a beautiful March, and of course I'm so excited to connect with you, and I will see you soon.